If you were to look up Nugehalli, it is described as a small town in the district of Hassan, Karnataka, located just off the state highway. But when you get there, what you see is a sleepy little village, a village that gained prominence during the Hoysala times between the 11th and 14th century as a place of learning or an agrahara, and was called Vijaya Somnathpura. Few people go to Nugehalli today, but thanks to Chennai Fast Forward, we arrived there one cool December morning and parked under a spreading tree with a water body that reflected the blue sky. Skirting the wall of the Sadashiva temple, we walked through the small village, passing homes with farm produce lying in the front yard, clothes drying on the line, and cows watching us intently as they chewed cud. It was a quiet afternoon. There were few people about, and the stroll through the village was like a stroll through time. The entrance of the Lakshmi Narasimha temple was simple and understated, and without the right guidance, many of us would have ignored it and simply passed on by. However, once we were inside, we were treated to a feast of Hoysala architecture, beautifully adorned walls with exquisite sculptures of Hindu gods and goddesses and their attendants. Beneath them, in true Hoysala style, starting from the place where the wall meets the jagati or platform, were horizontal bands of exquisite carvings. The first band was a procession of elephants. Above that, horsemen. Then a band of foliage. Then scenes from Hindu epics. Above that, yalis, mythical creatures often featured in South Indian temples. And then a band of hamsas or swans. The vimana or towers were even more ornate than the walls. There were 3 shrines in the temple dedicated to Venugopala, Keshava, and Lakshmi Narasimha, all avatars of Lord Vishnu. While I was there to admire the temple and its beautiful surroundings, my eyes, as usual, were looking for games. Having found numerous game boards in the Sadashiva temple less than half a kilometer away, I was hopeful and my excitement was rewarded. Although this temple had far fewer games in terms of variety, there were a number of boards representing the Palanguri or the Aliguli Mane as it is known in Kannada. The game of Palanguri in many ways is believed to be intrinsically linked to farming. The process of moving your game pieces around the board is almost akin to sowing seeds in a long line of pits. A glance at any farm which depends on seed-based farming will reveal a similar pattern of pits as seen in the game of Palanguri. The game begins by placing a certain number of game pieces in each of the pits. The players then pick up and distribute the pieces following certain rules with the goal of collecting the maximum treasure, perhaps symbolic of a bountiful harvest. Not far from one of the boards of Aliguli Mane were 5 pit-like depressions in what looked to be a pattern. It wasn't immediately evident as any game, but its pattern made it interesting to observe and document. As we left the temple and walked back to our bus, I saw an old cart overrun with creepers, almost a metaphor for the fact that nature and people could live in harmony. There was a sense of calm going to these temples, a sense of peace, and truly a sense of the divine. beauty, play, peace, and a wonderful setting, if that combination does not make for divinity, I wonder what does.